Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Chocolate Bros. A new episode. Adam, it's a new day. It's a new episode of the Chocolate Bros.
Clap it up, baby. Clap it up.
We're going to come in sizzling hot right here, and I'm just going to say this. We are the Chocolate Bros. We are the owners of Fortunato Chocolate. You can find us at www.fortunatochocolate.com. I'm Brian. He's Adam. We're the bros who own that place, that joint. And we've been in the chocolate business for 16 years. We have 2 retail stores in Issaquah, Washington. We have an online business that you can find at the aforementioned web address. We buy all our cacao. It's one genetic variety called Nacional. We buy that from one small group of farmers in northern Peru, and we have our own processing, fermentation, and drying facility. We take those beans, send them to Switzerland, have the chocolate made in Switzerland, bring the chocolate to the United States, sell the chocolate, and make a bunch of confections from that chocolate for the good people of the United States to enjoy. And that's our story. But Adam, why are we reviewing other people's chocolate? See if you can explain it so that they get it.
Good question, Brian. By the way, smooth intro.
Yeah, it's not my first time around.
Did you see when I was pantomiming the typing?
I saw your pantomime.
That was an accurate pantomime. Okay. I was actually pretending to type in the
words. Were you like stenographing?
www.fortunatochocolate.com.
Oh, I thought you were like a court reporter doing a stenographer.
Listen,
thing.
I don't want to brag, Brian.
Well, then don't. By all means, don't.
All right, I'll just skip it. I'm a published author.
You are a published author.
I've done quite a bit of typing in my day,
and not just any typing, productive typing.
Yeah, so I could accurately pantomime the website I'm doing it right now .fortunatochocolate.com. It's accurate.
Let me ask you
run back the tape.
I'm going to run it back. I want to ask you one quick question, Adam. Now, your book goes on sale today.
Today, although if you're watching this later, then
it will have been
it's a moot point.
A different day. Although sometimes these get posted the same day. But
yeah, June 4th, 2000, year of our Lord.
Here's my question, Adam. Yeah. On day one, has your book made any bestseller lists on, say, Amazon? Anything you'd like to point out?
Sure. We are currently number 58 on the Amazon list of business memoirs. I'm ahead of the dude who founded BlackRock, Schwartzman.
Really?
Is it Schwartzman or Schwartz?
That I don't know. I'm not. Right. I don't know. But now, who's number 1 on the list?
Elon Musk.
We're coming
for you.
We're coming for you, Musk.
We're gonna. What is that?
We're gonna pump you up.
All right,
That's
very good. Little Hans and Franz action. So listen, that was a long way of answering the question that you posed, which is why are we doing this? On this show, we actually review other people's products. We're doing it for 2 reasons. One, as we record this, we're coming into hot weather. Most of our business is online, and it's not that good to ship our chocolate in the heat because it melts. Even if we use thermal packaging, which we don't for environmental reasons, it can still just melt while it's on a truck. It's just shipping chocolate into hot weather that doesn't make a lot of sense. Second reason, we've pretty much only been eating our chocolate, I'd say, for the last 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
More at the beginning of the business. We've been in business 16 years. We spent a lot of time seeing how we compared to other chocolates. And then once we felt fairly certain that our chocolate stood up well to what else was out there, we didn't really feel a need to compare ourselves so much. But since we've taken such a long hiatus, we're interested in reviewing other people's chocolates to see where we stand. And the reason why it relates to us not shipping you chocolate in the hot weather is we're hoping to do you the service of helping you find some other good chocolates that you might be able to buy from a local store
and these are
to hold you over until the cool weather comes again.
And these are chocolates that can be typically found in a
widely
supermarket or a close, something like a Target or a Walmart or a Fred Meyer or something different like that. And these are not like fancy. We don't try to compete in the super high-end fine chocolate space. We want our chocolate to be accessible. We try to keep our prices at a level where somebody can make an actual choice between supermarket product and our product, which we always have considered our product to be quite a bit better than what's available in the supermarket, but we're testing that assumption by reviewing supermarket available chocolates.
Yeah, ideally our goal has always been to provide a world-class chocolate made with a fine flavored cacao, impeccably fermented, dried, post-harvest processed, made to the highest processing standards, but because of the way we manage the supply chain, make that available at competitive prices so that the general chocolate-loving public, not just chocolate snobs, can afford to buy a really world-class chocolate. And we're attempting to see if we can identify some other jewels that are just sort of out there in the world that you don't have to go to a really high-end place to find them.
That's right.
Okay.
That's exactly right.
So I bought this at a health food, like a local health food store, and it was fairly reasonably priced. This brand is called Beyond Good, made with cacao, from Uganda, which you do not see very often. It is not one of the more popular.
You don't see it called out.
Single origins.
You're eating chocolate from Africa quite frequently, but
West Africa.
That's typically West Africa. You very seldom do you see chocolate called out by location from any place in Africa. Uganda and Tanzania are two and Madagascar.
Madagascar is probably
are three exceptions to that.
Madagascar is probably the most popular place by far,
100%,
where you would see a single origin called out.
It's becoming a less available chocolate because of problems they have both climate-wise and economy-wise. And I think you're seeing Uganda and Tanzania fill a little bit of that.
But when I think
role.
Uganda, if I'm thinking sort of specialty crops from Uganda, I
Mm-hmm.
would always default to thinking about coffee.
Yes,
Cacao is not
right.
I've seen other single origin bars from Uganda, but it is not common.
No.
And I was really surprised
Yeah.
to see this origin just at a sort of a general health food store.
Yeah, and not only that, but and so this is a high percentage.
So
and,
let's show the package again.
As we know,
73%.
and it's a salted caramel. It's got an inclusion, and we've talked about inclusions before. As we know from our own experience, coffee and cacao do grow together. They typically
Correct.
grow at different altitudes, but in certain places in the world, there's a crossover between the two. Where we operate in Peru, there's a crossover. Most of our cacao farmers are also coffee farmers, and it seems like this place in Uganda, I have heard anecdotally, I have been to what may very well be the highest altitude producing cacao tree in the world.
Where we operate.
And I have heard anecdotally from people that they believe that Uganda may also have cacao that's like at that level of altitude.
So
it's a very similar topography.
One of the interesting historical paradoxes is that cacao is native to South America and the Amazon jungle, but the biggest cacao producing countries in the world are in Africa, West Africa.
That's right.
Whereas coffee is native to Africa, but the biggest coffee producing country in the world is Brazil. South America, so it's backwards.
It's a riddle wrapped in a paradox inside an enigma.
Nice, Brian.
Yeah.
So I would just say what'll be interesting about trying this bar is sort of by definition, you're not really expecting an heirloom variety of cacao to be growing in Africa. Although it could be that...
And we don't know the genetic provenance
We don't,
of this.
but it could be because, for example, they found that in Madagascar, there were some really unique and special varieties.
Yeah.
So it could be that at some point somebody in the past intentionally found a good variety of cacao and made an effort to take it to Uganda where they thought it might grow well, so that they could try to set up a burgeoning cacao industry in Uganda. Now, read some of the company.
So I just want to talk a little bit about this. So first off, they've got some tasting advice on the back, which I find kind of interesting. Can you find the flavor? And they've kind of got a little primer here on how to actually taste and savor the chocolate rather than just eat it, which I find interesting. Ingredients. Here's where we run into a little bit of a trouble here. Cocoa beans, that's great. Cane sugar, and then caramel. And the contents of their caramel are only sugar and glucose syrup. So they're not using...
It's not real caramelly.
This seems like a caramel that you would never eat on its own. It's just
just a burnt sugar.
It's just a burnt sugar, and it's not great quality sugar, and it's made only to go in a
And I can interject here that we have found in the past that when you're doing an inclusion bar, the inclusion itself is kind of what makes or breaks the bar.
That's right.
A really good inclusion can
elevate
average chocolate, and we have also seen where
a bad inclusion
ruins otherwise good chocolate.
De-elevates good chocolate.
Yeah, we've seen it happen.
So other than that, there's cocoa butter, sea salt, and vanilla extract. It's actually a really
simple, good.
It's really good. It's a really good ingredient list, except for the caramel. It's organic. They've got a stamp here that says
and read who it's distributed by and where it's made.
It's made. This appears to be made in Madagascar. So these beans apparently came from Uganda and went in a route that nobody would ever think to take beans, which is south and east to Madagascar. There is a processing facility for chocolate in Madagascar owned by a company called Madagas. They've been there for 30 years, and that is in fact who distributes this bar. So
Madagas used to make a bar that they also had widely distributed. I haven't seen a Madagas bar in the stores in a long time.
I suspect that for either financial or marketing reasons, Madagas has folded into Beyond Good.
Okay.
And that would be my guess.
But I will say this, in its time, Madagas I think made one of the best grocery store bars that you could buy.
Yes.
It was a good bar that was widely distributed, made with cacao that grew in Madagascar. So I'm expecting a good product here.
Yeah.
We already know about the inclusion. we'll see how that plays out. But I'm expecting a decent product.
Now they've got that thin foil wrap, which
I
we've
do not
already
care
talked
for.
about many times. We don't love. It's a very simple mold.
Yeah, this weird foil wrap makes it hard to store.
Yeah, you can't really get it back in.
Yeah.
It's a thin mold. It's just got some lines on it. Nothing really special there. Keeps costs down.
Yep. Inside here, there's a QR code that you could scan with your phone that will tell you a little bit more about their trends.
Oh, it's got a great aroma. If I'm being honest.
Would you break me off a piece, bro?
Yeah, I'll break you off a piece of that good bar. Whatever.
It does have a good aroma.
Nice, strong, chocolatey. Nothing off about that aroma.
I like the color too.
Yeah, nice
rich,
dark color. The African
color.
cacao is known to be really dark in color, not in the content. All right, let's give it a try.
All right, bro.
It's either out of temper or it wasn't tempered properly. It's got that spongy.
I might be out of temper.
I think it's probably out of temper. Yeah.
Now, you want to set it off or you want me to set it off?
Go ahead, because I'm savoring.
Well, I think the chocolate itself is pretty good. It's pretty good chocolate. Nice roast. I think it's properly fermented and dried. You can add your opinion to that.
Oh, thank you. Will you permit me to add my opinion?
Well, I'm going to this time.
I appreciate that.
I will allow it this time. I think this is like a real flavorful, good, interesting origin of cacao. It's dosed with vanilla.
Yes.
So I think the vanilla covers it up a little bit.
It's processed in Madagascar, so we can assume that's Madagascan vanilla. That's probably decent quality.
It tastes good, but the vanilla overshadows the flavor of the beans, and also because there's added cocoa butter. I also feel that you get some of the cocoa butter diluting the flavor, but maybe they had to do that for processing reasons. As it runs on my tongue, I am getting some bitterness. So the tail, I think, is a little bitter, which could either be because of the cacao or because of the roast. But I think the origin of cacao itself, the genetic variety of cacao, is interesting. It's got character. The inclusion, what are they calling this? The salted caramel. There's a little bit of salt. But the caramel,
very little.
But the caramel itself adds essentially nothing other than
texture,
other than a little bit of texture,
but and a little sweetness.
A little sweetness.
It's really it's a non-caramelly sweetness.
I think to call this a salted caramel bar is misleading.
Yeah,
because the caramel is not there. And I'm gonna hand this over to you for a second. As the tail runs on, I am picking up a little bit more bitterness, but on the front end, I got some interesting character from this chocolate that I enjoyed quite a bit, which makes me believe that this is not just some sort of just like a genetic hybrid variety of cacao, but it's something better and different. Yeah. Go ahead, Brian.
Okay, so yes, good aroma. The beans appear to be well fermented and well dried. I can't pick up any kind of off notes or anything like that. As you said, the chocolate's out of temper, which means it has a little bit of a spongy texture. It doesn't have the gloss or the snap that you would want. It doesn't melt on your tongue exactly the way that you would want the chocolate. I don't know if that's due to a manufacturing problem or because it's been a long time in the box or suffered in transport. Kind of hard to say. The salt to me is like really not apparent. The caramelly is really just some added sweetness.
And just like a little crunch.
And some crunch, but so in the it's more in the fashion of, so there's caramel, which is soft.
Well, we make caramel, so we know about caramel.
This compacts into one of those little chewy things that stick to your teeth. So I want to say that this is one of those cases of the inclusion I don't think is elevating.
No, it brings it down because it's misleading.
It's misleading. Yeah, I'm really not. This doesn't have a salted caramel flavor.
No.
This has a deep, rich chocolate flavor. I honestly think these beans would be fine on their own. I think these beans would be fine at a 70%. No inclusion.
It's almost exactly what we guessed. If this was just a straight up 73% dark chocolate from Uganda, it would be a really cool, interesting, good bar.
Yeah, what sugar and glucose syrup is not caramel.
No.
And it doesn't taste like caramel.
Yeah.
The chocolate tastes good. You're right, there is a little bit, but it's a pleasing bitterness. These beans are good. These are good beans.
The genetic variety that they're using,
whatever it is,
has character.
Yeah.
It has character.
Yeah.
They're well fermented and dried.
It's a chocolatey flavor. It's not bland.
And I think that, they probably, like you said, are using the Madagascan
vanilla.
Madagascan vanilla. They've added a little cocoa butter. I'm sure they did that for recipe reasons.
Yeah.
In order to work with the cacao.
And maybe that the beans that they're using from Uganda are lower in cocoa butter way that Ecuadorian beans are compared to other South American beans.
So I think the added cocoa butter does dilute the flavor that it might have been there. But you know what? You know what? I'm sure these guys did. They said we're going to be selling this in grocery stores. People like salted caramel.
That's a great point.
Let's make this an inclusion bar so it'll seem more fun
and
more appealing.
Yeah, it allows you to juice the sweetness just a little bit.
Yeah.
and kind of get away with it. And so,
but
I think they made decisions based on marketing rather than just flavor. That had they made it in flavor, I would be giving this an unqualified.
If this was just a straight 73% bar, even so. If you see this bar in the grocery store,
I
would
wouldn't
try it.
Yes, I would eat that.
Because the cacao has flavor.
Yeah, it's not a bad bar.
It's not a generic chocolate, and it's well done. The only thing is,
did you get this at PCC?
I got this at PCC.
And do you know how much it was, more or less? Maybe $5-6.
$5-6.
Yeah.
But the reason I picked up this bar is because I've seen it elsewhere.
Okay.
I've seen it elsewhere. But the only thing that I got to take umbrage with is if you get this bar and you're thinking, I'm in the mood for salted caramel.
It's really more.
I'm in
just
the
a
mood for
straight dark
salted
chocolate.
caramel. It's just a straight dark chocolate.
Yeah.
So you could be misled.
Yeah, I agree.
by the name of the bar.
Yeah, so
which
we
is
talked about
is similar to that bar we tried last week that had the lemon.
We talked about it at the beginning of the show. We've had inclusions that elevate mediocre chocolate, and we've had inclusions that de-elevate better chocolate. I think this is a case of the latter. The inclusion here is not elevating the chocolate, whether it's good or bad. I think this chocolate is good.
Yeah.
I think the inclusion is both unnecessary, it misses the mark, and texturally, it's just not quite there because it adds.
It sticks in your teeth.
It sticks,
and
in
it's
your
just
teeth
not necessary.
And it's just it's not the flavor that they're saying. It's like if you put a lemon, you put lemon raspberry or something on your bar, and it just doesn't have that flavor.
And actually, even if it was a great salted caramel, even in this case, you still might not even want it.
Yeah.
Because the chocolate is good enough. It's good enough. It's smart enough. And gosh darn it, people like it. No, it's good enough on its own that it really didn't need an inclusion. The inclusion doesn't add to it anyways.
So this is a 73% cocoa, and they elevated the sweetness with what they're calling caramel. I would have loved to have seen this as a straight 70% bar, no muss, no fuss, and just let the cacao shine, because I think it does.
Yeah.
Overall, though, I have to say, taking all that into account, I would still eat this.
I'd go with this.
It's a good bar.
There was I forget the name of the company, but there was a bar last week that we reviewed that had Ecuadorian cacao, and it was supposed to have like a lime or a lemon infusion. The lemon wasn't strong enough so that the labeling was misleading, but the bar itself was a really good bar of dark chocolate, and I would say that about this bar too. This is a good bar of dark chocolate. It'll give you a good example of what like a really interesting variety of cacao with a lot of character has. I would go for this bar if you come across it. Just know what you're going into.
Yeah, and so the problem they did by making this marketing decision is the people who really want a salted caramel aren't going to be happy for this, and the people that really want a straight dark chocolate aren't going to
pick it up. Yeah. So that's why we're here.
That's why
we're here. We're
to
hipping
let the
you.
good people of the world know exactly what this is. It is a decent bar.
It's a really good dark chocolate bar.
Don't hesitate to pick it up. But if you're looking for a sweeter
sea salt
caramel bar, this really isn't it.
It's not going to hit it.
If you're looking at it and saying, "Oh, I wouldn't want that. I like the dark." It's actually okay to go ahead and get this.
Yep. So there you go. Any parting words, Brian? Or are we going to sign off?
I want to say thank you to everybody. First off, don't drop the chocolate on the floor.
Sorry, now you're getting a great view of my shoulder.
Absolutely, that's a good looking shoulder.
Hot shoulder view.
There it is. Right, award-winning author.
Boom,
right
there it is.
I'd like to thank everybody who's listening, who's watching. Go to fortunatochocolate.com if you want to try some of our stuff. Smash that like button, subscribe, thumbs up, whatever it is, whatever the modality is of how you're accessing this episode. We appreciate it. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, and if you ever want to meet us in person and you're in the Issaquah area, the Seattle area, we work an owner shift on Saturday mornings from 9:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Come meet us in person. We'd love to meet you.
This banter is not restricted only to our online episodes. It happens in person every Saturday. The people can...
And we're talking 5 hours of hot banter.
That's a lot of banter.
It's the best. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one. Nice little bow there, Brian.